This is Mikey.
And I'm Garrison Rifen. This is Cinema Debrief. Welcome to Cinema Debrief. I'm Garrison Rifen, over here with my co-host Mikey. How are you doing tonight, Mikey?
What is up, Garrison? I think my Gen X generation is doesn't care about movies anymore, and it scares me. I don't know what to do. Like, Masters of the Universe should have been huge, and it's like barely eking out second place.
Yeah,
and it's worrisome because we'll talk about it later. I enjoyed the movie, and we'll dive into why I enjoyed the movie later on. But I mean, it's just worrisome. And in Mortal Kombat 2, which is basically a Gen X property, I mean, not doing great, doing okay, but not great.
I think the delay was a stupid thing. I think it was very stupid. I think October last year, Mortal Kombat 2 makes more money.
Should Masters of the Universe move? Should they have moved when they saw Scary Movie 6 jump on that weekend?
I don't know that Scary Movie 6 is direct competition for the same audience. So
that's true.
I think I just don't know that I'd spend as much on a Masters of the Universe movie as they did.
No, they shouldn't have. But it does beg the question, like, is 80s nostalgia like kind of dying on the vine at this point? Because even Star Wars, not doing great.
I think you can see that kind of, and I think a big brand like Star Wars, I think you can pull people back.
It'll survive,
in a way.
Sure.
If you make a great film at some point that just has immense hype, it can pull people in. Same thing with Marvel. You know, Marvel's going to have their downs, but they also, I mean, Deadpool and Wolverine made $1.3 billion.
Exactly.
You know,
I love how people always conveniently forget that also. When like they're saying Marvel's dead, and they always forget that Deadpool and Wolverine made $1.3 billion and being look, rated R.
Yes. Biggest rated R film ever. And look, it is like an adjacent kind of film, sort of, but it was still made by Marvel. And
it's true.
And at the end of the day, what it tells me is that their bigger brands are probably still fine. Spider-Man we'll see this summer, probably going to be huge. And Avengers, I imagine, as long as everything goes well, will be huge as well. I mean, specifically, Masters of the Universe is also, I think, just an interesting case where it's not really a thing people my age grew up with.
Right. So any generation behind Gen X.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a hard sell. And if Gen X is at a point where it takes something in their mind special to get out to the theaters, then maybe Motu wasn't a good idea. I don't know.
I don't think it was. I mean, I will get to how my thoughts on the movie.
Yeah.
I think it's, I think it's well made, but I just don't know that there's really any hype for that brand at all. And the Netflix show obviously didn't help that kind of stuff either. And,
Right. There was such divisiveness involved, not necessarily by the creators of that Netflix show, but the fan base was very, like, the old school fan base. Shockingly, I can't believe an old school fan base would get mad at something. I don't know. It seems like a lot of old school fan bases, like Gen X and a little bit older, like boomers, they have a tendency to get really vocal when they're unhappy about something in their fandom. Not that like younger generations don't do that, but it just seems like the older generations, and me being one of them, we just seem to like yell and scream online for no reason. And because maybe we're afraid that our childhood is so far behind us at this point that movies that we would hope would capture that like nostalgia for us aren't doing it well enough. And so we tend to get butthurt when in our opinion it's not capturing the nostalgia we want it to capture. Because even in this latest Masters of the Universe, it's certainly not like a direct adaptation of the 80s.
I couldn't tell you honestly.
No, it's not. I mean, there's elements of it obviously, and there's some really funny stuff. And again, I know we're talking about it earlier than we're supposed to be, but we'll dive into all that. But I don't know. It's an interesting, at least, thought process or thought exercise to just wonder if maybe 80s nostalgia is kind of just dying on the vine at this point.
I think you've seen in reality, I mean, 80s nostalgia, I think, was a big thing when I think I said this last week, but when I was in high school, early college.
Mm-hmm.
And then when, just in the last, I think 5-6 years, I've noticed a lot of 90s nostalgia and early 2000s nostalgia.
Yes, exactly.
And you're seeing that with Scary Movie this weekend. I know that the audience score is not great, but Scary Movie audience scores have never been great.
Audience score proof, really.
And it's going to make like close to 60 million, which is,
it's
I mean, that's just that brand. The first Scary Movie did better than Scream if you look up the box office results.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what the Wayans captured at the time and apparently are recapturing. So
exactly. I just hope that the studios don't necessarily get the complete wrong message from this, because there's the tendency from a studio standpoint when they see something exciting like what Backrooms and Obsession is doing, they dive straight into that without any consideration of, maybe existing IPs that could still potentially do well. And so they're just going to be trying to look for all these young YouTubers to come up with ideas for them and get away from the IP. And that's an interesting even mention of that, because in an interview this week, Kane Parsons specifically said he wasn't interested in doing IP.
Yeah, although he did say that there were 2 properties from his childhood he was interested in, and he was even maybe in talks with already.
That's true. That's true. I think that he probably was not necessarily taking a shot at the over the bow of like Star Wars or whatever, but it did to me sound like he was a little, well, I'm not going to do a Marvel or a DC or a Star Wars, like anything big IP. He doesn't sound interested in doing that. I mean, he was a gamer anyway, so I don't. And he's admitted that he doesn't have much nostalgia when it comes to movies.
Yeah.
So he's an interesting case study.
Yeah, he's talked about doing a potential Portal adaptation, I think, in the past. So
and which totally
by Valve. Which is a fun game, and I'd be interested to see what a movie would look like. I mean, there's a storyline there. It's just but anyway, I think you make an interesting point. On the point of being loud about some things online, I totally agree. But the thing is, like, sometimes people jump at things and they're totally wrong, and then sometimes they're right. But it's why I just can't stand social media sometimes.
It's a cesspool.
We have a solution for that. If you want to get away from the noise on social media all the time, you can join our Discord. You can email us at cinemadebriefpod@gmail.com if you want to get access to it.
Right.
Just quick plug there.
Yeah, no, I like that. Yeah. Speaking of 90s properties, you're off the shelf.
Yeah, so I picked Dark City, released by Arrow in the last year or so, directed by Alex Proyas, and written by a few people, one of which was I saw was David S. Goyer, which I thought was great. It was Proyas, Lim Dobbs, and David S. Goyer. And I've always been interested in this movie because I've heard it's kind of well, first off, I like sci-fi. It's been sitting on my dad's shelf for years in his media room, not this Arrow version, but a DVD from way back in the day.
That's the one I've got.
And so I'd look at the cover and I'd be like, I want to watch this movie. Well, it's rated R, so I knew I couldn't watch the movie. And so it took me a long time. It's been sitting on my watch list for almost close to a decade now on Letterboxd.
That's impressive.
And I don't know why I waited so long. Maybe because I didn't want to watch the DVD and I wanted to watch it in HD. I just never really found the opportunity or took the time to research it. But when the Arrow came out last year, I got really excited.
They did a 4K release, didn't they?
Yeah, and it's the special edition version, which I have, has the director's cut and the theatrical. If you buy the Arrow standard, I think it's just the director's cut. But I said last week I'd watch both cuts. I got really busy this week.
No, I automatically knew I was only going to watch the theatrical cut.
I watched the director's cut.
Oh, good. Okay. No, so I can't recall. I know I've watched the director's cut many years ago, but I can't recall exactly what was the difference. I want to say maybe it was a different ending, but I don't know. I can't. You usually have some website source that will tell you the differences on things like that. So, yeah, I mean, I'm starting to lean towards watching the theatrical cut of things more when we do this off the shelf. Because generally I know I'm not going to have a chance to watch both cuts of things. And I want to watch what was in the theater more than what came out on the disc when I'm doing off the shelf. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know if that's going to be the case for every single movie, but I mean, we'll see how that goes. But what are the differences? Did you find that website that you go to?
I didn't go to that. I found a different one. There's a voiceover in the theatrical cut. At the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And apparently the opening is different and it has more of like a hook, whereas the opening to the director's cut is more mysterious. And I actually kind of like that personally, and I will check out the theatrical cut when I can.
Yeah.
But because I like seeing the differences and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, sure.
But I really liked that. My understanding is they kind of spoon feed you some stuff with the voiceover.
They do. That's fair.
And I liked that I was kind of figuring things out as the movie went along.
It's what we always talk about, the tell don't show, I mean, aspect of things. Yeah, I mean, I think that's always, in my mind, that's a studio head note. We need to tell the dumb audience what's going on instead of show them through what's happening in the film.
Unfortunately, audiences are dumb sometimes. And so that's why those theatrical cuts happen. I mean, you got famous case is the Blade Runner cut. Though I do like Harrison Ford's narration, even though it sounds like he's bored out of his mind.
So long since I watched that version.
I like it because it's got a very noir feel to it to me.
Oh yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah. Detective telling you everything that's going on.
And it's interesting that you say that because William Hurt's character in this reminds me a lot of Harrison Ford's Blade Runner character.
Okay.
Where he just sort of has a certain noir cadence about him. And I thought that William Hurt knew the assignment better than any of the other actors as far as here's what you are supposed to portray when you're in a noir type of film.
Yes, he's got the noir detective thing down for sure.
Yeah, it made me, it's the first time I've watched something since he passed many years ago, and it made me like that he was in, and it made me really miss him as an actor. Like he was very talented in a very specific way, where he just had this, yes, he was attractive in like the early 80s. He was in Body Heat and stuff like that. So he was like the heartthrob. But as he aged, he sort of just had this like authority figure look about him. Just because he's so tall, and he just, I don't know. He's a great actor. Really, really like him in all of the Marvel films that he got to be in. I thought he was a great Thunderbolt Ross. I really did like him a lot. And the stuff that he did in this movie, he was just the best at it. I just enjoyed him more than Kiefer and Rufus Sewell, and Jennifer Connelly, I think, did fine with what she was given. But oh yeah, no, she's absolutely gorgeous. And so, that's in a noir film, you want the girl to be absolutely gorgeous. I mean, that's just what you want.
Perfect casting.
And it's so funny that we watched this, and I didn't even correlate the two until just now. That Spider Noir is out right now.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting that we watched another, I would call it like this is not necessarily a modern noir because it's not necessarily set in the 40s because it's a space out of time type thing.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, that's what The Strangers created, was this like 40s-esque landscape for the people to go through. Now, I thought about you also when I was watching this, because isn't tuning a big thing in the Sanderson universe? Like with the alchemy, don't they use that term tuning?
Not Maybe really, not. No.
Oh, okay. What is the term that they use when they are about to do their magic in the Sanderson universe?
They burn stuff.
Oh, okay. That's what it was. Like they're burning the elements.
Yeah,
that's kind of,
that's Mistborn specifically. Yeah,
well, that's the only one I've read. I read that. That's the only one I've read. I read the first one, and when I say read, I lazy read it. I listened to it, and made it halfway through the second one, and then gave up because
yeah, second one's a lot of political stuff, and I don't mean that in a sense that some people take it when you say. I mean, it's literally politics of setting up a world after you've overthrown the big leader.
I will say, as far as a first, and this is a total sidetrack, Mistborn is a great first book in a series.
Yes,
it is really good. It captures your imagination, and they do an excellent job of world building.
If you can get through the second book, the third book is a fantastic finale.
I unfortunately couldn't. Unfortunately, and not saying like I still have a bunch of his books in my Audible account. It's just getting to them. I may or may not be able to do that. But anyways,
I was not a big fan of
back to Dark City. I want to hear what you thought of it, since this was a rewatch for me. What did you think of it?
I love so much about this film. I love the aesthetic, the looks. I love the genre. I love, I'm a big sci-fi guy, but I also really like noir films. I like mysteries.
Yeah.
This movie starts you out and it shows you a miniature of the city that you're entering, which has got a very, like you said, 40s noir look to it all. Neon lights on these buildings. And I love I just love the miniature world that you're kind of taken through a bit. You open on this guy. He's waking up in the director's cut, at least he's waking up in the bathtub. And I love again, this is a show don't tell thing, but he sees blood on his face. He wipes the blood. You realize it's not his blood. Well, whose blood is it? Because there's no wound there.
That's true. Yes.
So they planted blood on him.
Yes.
For his new personality, obviously. Once we get to that, but things start unraveling. He gets a phone call from a guy. He's barely able to walk. He's disoriented. He gets a phone call from a mysterious doctor who says, something went wrong. And I can't remember what he tells him to do in that moment, but he's trying to get in contact with John, last name I'm blanking on right now, but John is our main character, played by Rufus Sewell, who I think does a really good job.
I think so too. This was his first breakout role.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's funny because if you followed his career, which we saw him. No, was he in A Knight's Tale? No, that was Purfoy.
He's in A Knight's Tale. He plays the bad guy.
He's the that's what I was going to say. He, for most of his career, is the villain.
Yeah, so that's what I like about this. Yeah. Because normally he's got this face about him, and I think I said this in A Knight's Tale, where you just want to punch him in the face.
Yeah, it's RBF, basically.
And in this, he does get to play some of that menacing, because you get a little bit of a look at what his personality was supposed to be.
Right.
But he plays a good guy for the majority of this, and I think he does a really good job of endearing to his character of this guy who doesn't really know what's going on. He's freaked out. He's being told he's a murderer. They're these creatures, the strangers, who are trying to basically have a zoo of humans, and they're trying to figure out what makes humans work and try to capture the human soul, because they don't have a human soul. They live as a collective mind, essentially.
Right.
And I find it so fascinating. It's a rich world that obviously you couldn't do, as we get to the end of this film, you couldn't do a sequel to this necessarily unless things went wrong again.
Right.
But you could do prequels to this film of like, where did the strangers come from, and hundreds of years of evolution previous to this. It's there's a rich world there, and I have for years heard about this film from a lot of different standpoints, but from one standpoint specifically was that it was kind of proto Matrix in terms of your world is not real, and the main character has powers and is almost a chosen one, essentially. In that sense, in Matrix, he is the chosen one. In this, he's just a guy who's evolved into having the powers of the strangers.
And what makes it quite impressive is that it's not based on an existing property.
Yeah,
I mean, this was from the mind of these three guys. I mean, I think the director sort of came up with the story.
Yeah, he's story by credit,
and he gave the screenplay to Goyer and this other guy. Who the other guy he's written quite some interesting screenplays as well. I think one of his screenplays was nominated for an Academy Award. Not Goyer, but
not Gotti. He wrote Gotti.
Yeah, the other guy did. Yeah, no, I can't remember which one it was, but one of them got nominated for an Academy Award, if I'm not mistaken.
It's interesting that he wrote Kafka
Yeah.
before this. And
Yeah.
then he did Dark City, which is a sci-fi kind of Kafka-esque.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. It's kind
Does
of
it
an
say which
interesting...
one he was nominated for the Oscar?
I don't see it off the top of the list here.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I'm sure. One sec. I don't see it. I see BAFTA, Saturn, Hugo.
Oh, maybe it's the BAFTA. That's what it was. It's the BAFTA. He did not get nominated for Oscar because it's a recent one that he got nominated for the BAFTA.
Yes,
the one that
Lee.
Kate Winslet. Yeah, Lee. Yeah, and I think she got nominated for a BAFTAs too. That movie's actually not half bad. I watched that movie.
He also got a Golden Raspberry for Gotti. So.
Well, of course he did. Gotti is infamously bad. Never saw it, but it is.
Well, he didn't win. Sorry, he was nominated.
He didn't. Oh, that's too bad. That would have been a good one to win for. Yeah, I mean, and what's so cool about this is, like you said, Matrix and even some stuff afterwards really seemed like they got some of their ideas from Dark City. I mean, because you've got this sort of underground alien species who has the power to make everyone shape reality, make everyone sort of stop what they're doing for a few minutes so they can inject memories into them and basically create whoever they want to, however they want to do it.
They're creating scenarios
in order to, search for the soul. In their estimation, the only way that they can search for the soul of a human is via the mind. And one of the big lines at the end of the film that Rufus Sewell gets to deliver is that it's from the heart more than the head type.
Yeah, he didn't say that, but that's
he
what
didn't say that, but that's what
he said. The mind wasn't the right place to look.
Implication, the
implying a heart.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, no, I did enjoy this. I think Kiefer overdoes it a bit, and it really made me think as I was watching this: have I ever really enjoyed him in anything? I think
I love him in 24.
That's what I was about to say. The only thing that I really love him in is as Jack Bauer.
Like, I think he's good in Lost Boys.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a supporting role, but
it is a supporting role, and even in Young Guns, very much a supporting role. Not really. It's an ensemble cast, so he, gets a few good moments, but
he does a good head nod in At Close Range.
It's got that's true. It's got a stink, I guess, and this is a lot of what I guess the whole nepotism in Hollywood thing is not talked about, is the aspect of if your dad is super famous and has had some iconic roles in his career, to try and live up to that. So yes, there may be a lot of nepotism in Hollywood, but it's got to be like, I can't imagine being Wyatt Russell or Jack Quaid.
The cool thing about Wyatt, not to go too hard on a tangent, is that he had a completely separate professional career,
right?
And then decided to get into acting.
And I think Jack Quaid was kind of the same. I think Pullman's what's his name? Lewis Pullman's kind of like, all those guys seemed like they didn't hit until they were in their 30s. Maybe Jack's a little younger than them, but I don't exactly know how old Jack Quaid is. But it seems like you're right. I mean, it seems like maybe they didn't start as child actors. They waited before getting involved in it. But still, I mean, Kiefer Sutherland, he kind of did start as a child actor. Like he was around forever, but never really has reached the fame of, or not necessarily fame, maybe from maybe he's as famous as his dad, but from a quality standpoint, I mean, he's always going to be known as Jack Bauer. I mean, that's kind of like what his iconic role was Jack Bauer. And you're right, I loved him as that character. I thought he was fantastic as that character. But he just has this weird tendency to make me sort of, I don't know, he just takes me out of the movie a little bit, like his character. And I'm sure that's a direction. I mean, Alex Proyas is probably directing him to do some of that stuff, and so it's fine. It's the character that he was given. but it just felt a bit out of place.
I saw someone else mention this, but they said that he was giving like a Peter Lorre-like performance in the film. And I think that is what he's going for. I think he's specifically trying to go for that kind of creepy guy who, and it's not in his element necessarily.
Right.
I applaud him for giving it a try. It's not the best, but it didn't take me out of it that much. But it was a little weird.
I mean, whenever you have your character be a bit disfigured and sort of crippled, it does make it tough, I'm sure, as an actor to find your place in the role.
Yeah. Part of his eye is completely
part of his eye is messed up. He has a limp. And so you have to remember to do all of that type of stuff. And I'm sure that makes it a little bit more difficult. So I don't know. He was probably my least favorite. I think William Hurt was my favorite. Sewell would be my second favorite. Jennifer Connelly knew what she was there for and did it well.
Yeah.
And the sort of the main three strangers that were going after them, I liked all of those guys. One of them was in the prequel trilogy. I can't remember his character's name. He was one of the aliens on the planet that had the Crete, or not the Crate dragon, but whatever dragon that Obi-Wan rode during his fight with Grievous on the in the prequel trilogy. That guy's a famous Australian actor, which I think Poirier, not Australian, but grew up in Australia. So he spent most of his life in Australia. I think he is not, I think he's like Greek or something like that. But anyways, he grew up in Australia, so he was using a lot of Australian actors. And most of his career, he's been doing work in Australia, basically. Really, Dark City was kind of like his biggest movie, even though it didn't do well financially. It has a huge cult following, just because whenever you have good screenwriting and good world building, I mean, that's going to eventually create like that cult classic status. And Dark City definitely has that, I think, because it's a good movie. It's not campy. I think it's done. The noir aspect of it is done really well, and the set design was really cool. The Automat food place, just like they did everything great.
The Automat food place, I love that look. I mean, when it shows up in places like, and nowadays where you got like Loki season 2 and it's showing up there with the pies. I love that kind of classic. Again, it just reminds you of a far off time period, and that's what the movie's trying to trick you into thinking it's a long time ago. And instead it's actually, we don't know where it is. It's in space.
It's in space,
which is a cool reveal when you get to see this spaceship from the outside once John Hurt's character's been blown out the spaceship.
But
no head explosions in this one.
No head explosions. Yeah, it's unfortunate. No, I'm just kidding. But to your point earlier, like it'd be tough to do a sequel, but I really would love a prequel in this world, and I'm kind of surprised in Hollywood that someone somewhere didn't say, "Hey, let's do a prequel of this."
Yeah,
I mean, just because eventually all IPs are created and farmed, and things, prequels and sequels and requels and remakes. I mean, it all eventually happens. But great off the shelf pick.
If you go to movie-censorship.com and you look it up, there are a lot of differences. Whether it's alternate shots, like the same shot but from a slightly different angle or slightly different take. But there are also just things rearranged here or there. Certain scenes happen at different times. I can't mention everything that's on this.
There's so much. That's interesting.
But one of the things that it gets into, though, is that in the director's cut, the one that I watched, the circles, the spirals were a bigger deal in the director's cut than they are in the theatrical cut.
Yeah, they make so in the theatrical cut they definitely have the detective that goes crazy.
Yeah,
he certainly is sort of enraptured in the spiral thing. The little kid stranger that is creepy as all get out. He was doing the circle thing on the last victim.
I think that's Mr. Sleep or whatever his name is.
Mr. Sleep, and he's a little kid, and he's like, "Kill him!" when he was like that. I think that was his only line. I was like, "Kill him." He might have
he's
had
got a couple others, but it's not a lot.
That was the most iconic line that he got to say. Just the way that little kid delivered that line was pretty good. I was like, hey, good for you, little kid. Delivered that line well.
I was surprised by the amount of people in the just for this film, all the amount of people in the strangers room, and how well they had them synced up doing all the clicking, and they, Proyas did a good job leading this production. Obviously, it's sad that it didn't really do that well ultimately financially, but
it didn't do well financially, and it's kind of sad. Like if you look at Proyas's career, it's kind of taken a nosedive really since Dark City. He did like a couple of other things of some notoriety after that, but really his career
iRobot
was nowhere.
I think the last big thing he did was after this. And then he's got Gods of Egypt a decade ago.
And it like tanked him. I mean, when he did Gods of Egypt, that was kind of the last straw, and the dude kind of just is working completely independently at this point. I looked at his IMDb profile, and it says that he's got some things in the works, but you can tell that they're outside the Hollywood system. They're made in Australia independently, and I think one movie that he may or may not actually get, it says it's in post-production. The biggest name on there is Anthony LaPaglia, who is an Australian actor who in the 90s was around a bit. I mean, he had some work in the 90s that he did, where people like, hey, I recognize that guy and kind of know that name.
They started filming that movie in October of 24.
Right. So we'll see if it actually ever sees the light of day. I mean, I don't know.
I feel like footage has to at some point, but it's kind of like what we were talking about though at the beginning, and you brought up that it's refreshing to see an original film like this, and it's not based on, obviously it's derivative of certain things in cinema history or storytelling history, but but it's such an interesting idea with an interesting world that's kind of rich in a way that you wanted to start exploring this world like we were talking about, and I'd like to see more voices like that, but I understand why Hollywood doesn't like those risks.
It'd be nice. I mean, to go back to Backrooms a little bit, I mean, Kane Parsons says that sci-fi is kind of a love of his. And so maybe we'll get to see him play outside of the Backrooms universe and do an original sci-fi story. Science fiction from a financial standpoint,
it's tough.
Hasn't been doing well lately. I mean, there's only certain genres that have been doing really well lately, in all honesty. I mean, animation never dies. Horror films never die. And for the most part, the big action adventure blockbusters that are going to do well, they're there. But then you've got, smaller, like when was the last time we saw like a really $100 million drama? I mean, it's been a long time. I mean, Oppenheimer, sure.
Yeah. That's probably it. But the biggest one,
because Nolan's an IP in and of himself.
But also Oppenheimer was 100 million. It was even 100 million.
Right.
It's crazy how well that movie is paced and how well it plays as a talky drama. But there are not a lot of dramas that get that kind of budget.
Yeah.
The drama, not that much of a budget. But did well.
I mean, didn't hit 100 million or anything.
Worldwide
it did. Worldwide it did. Okay. Well, domestic didn't, but yeah. So the drama did well, but look, as much as people scoff at Robert Pattinson and Zendaya sometimes, I mean, they can deliver box office.
As long as the movie is budgeted appropriately, those people can pull in some decent.
Mickey 17 notwithstanding, but they can deliver.
That movie was not budgeted appropriately.
No, it was not. It was not.
Cool. I love Bong Joon-ho.
Yeah.
Not budgeted right.
I need to give that movie another chance. I've only seen it one time,
I don't know what you do.
No, maybe not. So I'm
the biggest Bong Joon-ho fan on this podcast.
Yeah, you are.
What is your pick, Mikey? Sorry.
Well, no, we're about to dive into like what I would venture to say is like a pretentious corner that we've never been to before.
Okay.
This is going to be some very pretentious films that I have never seen. Obviously, these are my off-the-shelf picks, and it's all going to be Criterion, really, for me, until maybe like the end of the year before I move into something else. But I'm going to go ahead and do my best to knock out all my Criterion films that I haven't seen before. And what's interesting about the Criterion collection is in 1998 they had a hard number reset.
Yeah.
And so what I need to do
DVD.
is once their DVDs came out. And so what I'm going to have to do is go by the number system that they had for Laserdisc. Because I've got, how many Laserdisc films do I did my list earlier. It's just to know how many I had. So I've got 5 Laserdiscs that are Criterion that I've never seen before. We're going to dive in, man. We're about to dive into a film from 1927.
Okay.
Directed by Cecil B. DeMille.
Okay.
Called The King of Kings.
Okay.
Easily available. It's on HBO Max. It's on the Criterion channel. If you don't have subscription services, you can even watch it on Tubi with commercials. It is quite a long film, not by today's standards. It's only 2 hours and 30 minutes. So by today's standards, it's like, it is what it is. Reading the back of the Criterion, because Criterion always just does such great write-ups when they do any of their movies. But it's interesting because in the sound era, DeMille cut the picture from approximately 155 to 112 minutes. The original version no longer exists.
That stinks.
Really does stink, because
that's the kind of stuff that, I mean, it's just the way things worked back then, because we didn't really have the concept of keeping film. We didn't, store it like we do nowadays in cold storage. We didn't, think, we're going to restore it in 50 years from now. If you look at the BBC with their taped shows, they would tape over things. And a lot of film has gone up in flames during nitrate fires and stuff like that. So, but yeah.
So this,
at least we have something.
I've actually got so there's another version, different director, Nicholas Ray did in the 60s, that was a sort of like a stereophonic sync sound version of The King of Kings. I've got that on because of this collection I kind of inherited. I paid for it, but the guy cut me a really good deal when I bought it. I've got the 1961 version, but it's not Criterion collection. I may eventually watch that version, but for now we'll just do Cecil B. DeMille's version. I'm excited about it. It's one of those films it's funny, the write-up on the back, when Cecil B. DeMille was, an aged director in the mid-50s, he liked to boast that 800 million people had seen this movie. I don't know if that's true, but he apparently was very proud of the film, and I'm excited.
I could see
to watch it.
800 million tickets having been sold to the film.
Yeah. Well, he was talking about also when television came about and they played it on TV. But it's a cool cover. It's going to be good. I'm excited to watch this. So yeah, if you've got HBO Max or the Criterion channel, and I know less people would have the Criterion channel, but it's also on Tubi. So if you are, I know Dr. Earl does his best to follow along with us as we're watching our off the shelf picks. And I think that this has Dr. Earl written all over it. This is a quite pretentious film.
Yeah.
And because Cecil B. DeMille, I mean, he's the GOAT, man.
Well, all right.
Let's calm down. I'm just kidding. Of his era. Okay.
Well, I don't know. There was a certain Hitchcock making films around that same time.
Well, that's true. That's true.
But he wasn't,
as far as
epics
yet. Epics are concerned.
Yeah.
But yeah. So and like it's gonna be 12 weeks of this for me, like 12 weeks of Criterion movies. So, or 24 weeks technically, because obviously yours are going to be included as well. So, and you've already, given us some Criterion films, and you've got many more that you have not seen.
Yes,
that
plenty.
Yeah, I'm glad this one was kind of readily available. I'm looking at some of these. I was concerned because some Criterion films you don't know how readily available they're going to be. So I'm glad that this one is like, even if you are forced to watch it with commercials, it's on Tubi. But
this may sound blasphemous, but I might skip the next Criterion sale.
Oh, no, there's several Criterion, so I don't do a Criterion.
I do
I don't
every single one.
Nah, I don't. I mean, I can't afford to do that because I'm buying other stuff in between. So I mean,
well, it's not even about affording it. I could justify affording it.
Mm-hmm.
It's space.
Oh, I'm out of space. Like I'm having to be so creative with the way I display things. I've put shelving on the wall now, and I'm having to be very creative with how things are being displayed, because I am completely at a point where I'm close to owning 2,000 films, and I will have to probably top out at 2,000 because I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know how I get more. I'd have to have a whole other room to put stuff
I'm hoping that through some of this is just my thoughts.
Yeah.
That when we get through some of these films, I can go, okay, I don't need to own that film. I can donate it
that's
to
true. That's
library or whatever.
That's interesting. I mean, because there's certainly some that I've watched that I own as we go through this that I wasn't like in love with, that I wouldn't mind getting rid of, but that's hard too for me for some reason. It's really
I'm starting to get to the point where it's less hard when you have less room.
Well, that's fair. Like if I do an upgrade, then obviously, although I did an upgrade on Willow to the 4K, and as I was looking back at the DVD, there were some special features that the DVD has that the 4K didn't. So I was like, I can't get rid of this Warwick Davis commentary. That would be blasphemous. That the DVD has that for whatever reason the 4K doesn't have. So I don't know. It is what it is, and I've got to get off Whatnot. I was off of it for so long, and I'm back on there, and I have so many random things that I've bought that are coming in the mail. It's just ridiculous.
Well, do you want to get to the big release this weekend? It's not really the big release, but still a big release.
I do. I'll real quick mention that I did go see Power Ballad as well, which is
not here for me. So.
Oh, I know. I won't spoil anything. I will say that it's very much in the vein of John Carney's other films, which I really, like I mentioned last week, I really like the majority of his films. I haven't seen all of them. I think the first one that I saw was Once. And then I've seen pretty much everything he's done after that. There was some stuff he did before Once that I haven't seen yet. Although there's one that I was looking on his IMDb profile that had a really young Cillian Murphy that I would really, and it's like when he was in high school young. And so I kind of want to try and find that movie just to see what he was like when he was super young. Because John Carney is an Irish director. And so the majority of his films take place in Ireland, as does this one, Power Ballad. Even though you've got Paul Rudd, who's playing an American, he married an Irish woman in this film, and he has a teenage daughter. So it really hit me in a place that I was not expecting. It's a really sweet story, and that's like all his movies. Like you go in and you're like, okay, this is a John Carney film, and it ends up just being really heartfelt and really sweet. I wonder how much the studio got involved with the edit of the film, because it's only an hour and 39 minutes long. But it seems like there's a lot of story beats that were left on the cutting room floor. And so, like, they're trying to move it along in the edit when maybe the film didn't need to have that feeling of moving along, because there's certain characters I would have liked to have lived with a bit more. And because they're just so quickly going through the story in a way, some of the relationships that are in the film maybe don't flesh out enough, in my opinion. But I get the appeal of, well, we have to make this thing short so people will go see it, and we don't want to release a 2 hour and 30-minute, movie that, and the trailers did not, they were trying to sell this as an outright comedy, and it is not. It is not an outright comedy. So that is one important thing, that, because I think people should see it. If you've liked John Carney's other stuff, especially Sing Street, if you've liked his other stuff, I think that there are comedic elements in this, but it's not a down. It's more of just a family, in a way, a family, not drama per se, but just like a story of this family, and how Paul Rudd's character, who is an aged, not boy band guy, but he was sort of a pop singer, or that was like his dream. And I'm not giving anything away because the trailers say all this. Mm-hmm. He meets a boy band guy played by Nick Jonas, who is really good in this movie. Like I'm starting to really like everything that the Jonas Brothers have been doing lately. I even liked that stupid Jonas Brothers Christmas thing that was on Disney Plus last year. I thought that was a great little movie. So there, I don't know. There's just something really good about his performance in this film. And so, I don't think it's like a 5-star movie, but I gave it 3.5. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
I knew watching the Jonas Brothers show on Disney Channel would pay off when I was younger.
Dude, they're kind of like having a bit of a renaissance.
Well, they started in like 2019 with that comeback album they did, which was their comeback album was. I'll be honest, I'm not going to call myself a Jonas Brothers fan, but it's good.
Look, it's a good look. No, I'm with you, dude. I mean, they're good songwriters, and they've got Camp Rock 3 coming out on Disney Plus. I'm excited about that.
I don't know if I'm super excited about that, but I'll check it out.
Dude, I'm telling you, that Christmas movie that they did for Disney
I need
Plus
to watch it.
Was really just cheesy goodness.
Yeah.
So
Rhett even recommended it. So
exactly. There's it's a heartfelt Christmas movie that you don't see that often anymore. Because everybody's trying to subvert expectations with their Christmas movies all the time. Just I don't know. Anyways, Motu. I am very interested to hear from you, since you did not grow up with the property.
Yeah.
What did you think about Travis Knight's Masters of the Universe?
I picked the worst time to go see this movie. I thought I was going to do a 7:15 show. And I'm just going to go through my night experience because I don't feel like me giving a review would even be fair to the movie a little bit. But I'll give what I thought. Okay. So I was going to go 7:15. Dad wanted to get dinner with me, so I said, okay, I'll delay the 7:15. They got a 9:45. We'll go get dinner. Okay. We did a little shopping afterwards, picked some stuff up, and then I got home. I was talking with some friends online. And we were on this like phone call for an hour or whatever. I realized I needed to book it over to the theater because I'm a little bit later than I should be. I get there, the theater at 9:43, which is fine. You know how there's like 10 to 15 minutes of trailers.
In theory,
So, but then I go inside and there's a giant line. And I could rant
to get
about
popcorn or something.
To buy tickets. You can't print out tickets without going up to the register.
That's the same at AMC.
And so I have to sit in this long line no matter what. Used to, I could go up to the machine, print out my ticket, walk up to the guy and go. But those machines have been down since they switched over to their new system. So I don't know.
So you're stuck in the same line that the Obsession and Backrooms people are in.
Exactly. Plus Scary Movie. I know there were a lot of people going to see Scary Movie as well.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm mostly stuck in the line with other people going to see other movies. They're all starting at 9:45.
Oh goodness.
And it's a giant line. And I could rant about how I feel about certain things, but I'm not going to go that far.
Okay,
I'll just say the people who check you out are doing a good job. I think that when you've got like 10 employees there, that there could be more than 2 people on a register. But
it'd be nice, wouldn't it? It'd be nice, wouldn't it?
We'll go forward. Get in the movie theater. I come in the last trailer.
Okay.
I'll say what happens. I get in the theater. I'm sitting behind this guy, and then he like asks me if I'm sitting there, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sitting in this seat. Seat I bought.
He's behind you?
He's in front of me.
Oh, he's in front of you. Okay.
And then he just like, I don't know. I don't want to get too much into it, but eventually he winds up just laying down and falling asleep in his chair. And I'm like, what is this? What is going on with this guy?
What? Okay. That's weird.
I can mention some other stuff later, but
people are weird. That's the reality of it.
There was a group in front of him and the row in front of him. So he's in front of me and the 2 rows in front of me.
Yeah.
This group, they were like, they had brought food in and were being kind of loud with it. And that's one thing. It quieted down after a while. But then about 2/3 of the way through or 3/4 of the way through the movie, they they decided to take a selfie.
Oh,
and
God.
when they did it, they had their flash on.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, oh, they probably just got embarrassed by that. So that won't happen again. They did it again.
Oh my gosh.
I'm
so
like,
lucky that I don't know how, but in Birmingham, I have never had. I've had maybe 1 to 2 bad experiences.
You know how many times I go to the theater?
Yeah,
I rarely. I have one bad experience a year. Really, this is probably my one.
That's okay. That's fair. Yeah,
and otherwise it was fine.
Yeah.
But the other problem was I had just spent an hour walking and slightly running, and it was 9:45 when the showtime started, so it was really like close to 10 when the movie started.
Right. Oh, yeah,
movie finished.
Yeah.
Movie finished at 12:15.
Yeah.
I realized when there was an hour left in the movie, I was exhausted, and
it happens.
And by the end of the movie, I was starting to doze, and it was not the movie's fault.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't feel it's fair for me to say this is my definitive view on the film, but my feeling on the film was that it was too long.
No, and I think that's the sentiment from a lot of people, is that you don't need to make your Masters of the Universe film be 2 hours and 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
And I know that it's not kosher to harp on length of movie. I mean, it's just, because
make the length what it needs to be. That's what the movie says it needs to be. That's like a Christopher McQuarrieism.
Exactly. And there's a lot of truth to that. And I think that maybe Motu didn't need to be 2 hours and 20 minutes.
No.
Now, for me, and look, the theatrical experience often does have to do with a lot of times all the elements. And so what I'm saying that is the crowd that you're seeing it with, the people that you are there to see the film with, if you're going with friends or whatever. And so I went to the Wednesday night fan screening. And so the people that were there were intentionally there because they are huge Masters of the Universe fans. They're people I didn't see, but maybe a couple of young kids. These were the 80s nerds that love this property that were going to that Wednesday night fan screening that kind of was a late ad because of Mando and Grogu kind of failing and IMAX saying, we need to do better than this. So the fan screening of Motu, at least in Birmingham, was a very late addition to what I thought this movie was going to have, because I didn't even think it was going to be on IMAX. And so I was very excited because that is at least locally, my favorite format to see movies in is IMAX. Even though I understand that it's Limax. It's not real. But for Birmingham,
it is real for Masters of the Universe because they likely didn't shoot on 143. So
exactly. Yeah. There's going to be some films that I'm seeing later on this summer that, even though they're they say they're filmed for IMAX, with IMAX cameras, the theater that I'm seeing it is not going to be the true brilliance of what I'm going to be seeing the Odyssey. It is what it is. That's just the way it is. As for Masters of the Universe, I will say that I actually had quite a good time with the movie. Now, that could have been involved with me seeing it with Rhett and Earl, and all three of us were really enjoying the vibrancy as far as the color palette of the film. I thought it was great.
I think it's great at times, and that's fine because it's supposed to be drab when Grayskull's been taken over.
Yeah, and when
and on Earth.
Exactly. It's supposed to be exactly. Yeah, when it was supposed to be drab, it was drab. When it was supposed to be vibrant and colorful, I had way more fun with this than I did with Mando and Grogu. This,
I can agree with that.
To me, especially the spaceship fight scenes were just really fantastic. All of the visual effects, and it tracks that Travis Knight knows what he's doing when it comes to visual effects.
Yeah,
but it looked great. I mean, I thought that everything about it was great in that aspect. I think that maybe one too many jokes. It's a bit
goofy.
It didn't go total
If I
like
have a
Love and
problem with
Thunder. It was more Ragnarok than Love and Thunder.
yeah. If I have a problem with the jokes, so this thing is trying to present itself as a kids movie.
It is.
I
It
think it's
is.
got one too many fisting jokes.
It does. It does.
And giving head jokes.
And giving head jokes. Yes, it does. You're right.
To be a kids film.
No, it's weird. It's a bit off-putting. To hear that.
I think it's funny. Honestly,
one time though, just one time.
Yeah, but
you don't have to
like
keep hammering it in. Yeah.
It's too much, and again, you're trying to advertise this as a kids film. So.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. I think that as far as how Nicholas Galitzine did,
he's good.
He's fine. He's great. I mean,
yeah.
I think
I loved the scene between him and Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, that was a great
scene. They're having a metatextual conversation of a passing of the torch and
exactly.
And what he needs to do to be the character.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a great scene.
I think that's a great scene. I think that from what I'm hearing from a lot of people that are not loving the film, is that it was not close enough to the original property in the sense that the original property had funny moments in it, but they were in universe in the sense that it's not as if they knew they were in a funny universe. Like it's taking itself seriously. This was you mentioned metatextual. This was like everybody was in on the joke too much.
Yeah,
and that's not how the original property portrays itself.
I didn't love, and in some ways it worked, but I didn't love the whole, oh, that's not actually their names. They're, just these nicknames he came up with when he was a kid, and they're all laughing at it.
I thought that was a good idea. If they aren't going to say these are these characters' names, it was a good idea to say these are the names that Adam came up with when he was a kid on Earth for these characters that he remembered in a very Wizard of Oz type way, like from his childhood or whatever, from his memories and dreams. I think on paper that idea can work. I just don't know if it was executed well because they used that as a joke too much when they were on it in Eternia. Ha, his name's Mechaneck. Ha, his name's Ramhead. They did that too many times.
Yes.
Now,
and then the haha He-Man at the end, where I was teetering on like
exactly. Okay. They were so close to going too far with that, but I think that they skirted that line just enough where it didn't completely ruin the movie for me.
Yeah.
From all the weird, but some of the humor is a little off-putting. I thought Jared Leto did great as Skeletor.
That was my next point. I was going to say this. There are going to be people who don't want to hear this, but Jared Leto is fantastic.
He's great. He's great. And what I like is that
body mannerisms with the bodysuit, but also the voice. He does a fantastic.
Well, and I don't know. Was he
processed? But
was he in the bodysuit though?
I think he was.
Really?
I feel like he was. That feels like a Jared Leto move.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's interesting. I feel like he's the kind of guy who would want to do that.
No, I feel like he would totally want to do that, but from do we really need to have this guy on set? Can't he just do voiceover work for us? I just wonder. I don't know. I haven't looked at any behind the scenes stuff to know if that was actually him on set or not. I think that would certainly have worked better for the other actors if they knew that was him on set, in a costume or whatever. I think Tila was fine.
Yeah,
I think Evil Lynn there was a couple of good moments with her where Alison Brie had some good facial expressions that worked well. I think the story in and of itself worked well.
Yeah. It feels like Travis Knight was very inspired, and I'm sure somebody's made this comparison, but I haven't seen it. But it feels like he was very inspired by Flash Gordon 1980.
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, down to the fact that Brian May did the score, or like
down to the Queen stuff, but also the story itself.
Yeah.
The guy from Earth. coming into this
exactly.
other world, and even though he's not from Earth necessarily, but
right. Yeah, Flash Gordon, he's a football player. But and this guy's he happened to be on Earth because he was forced to leave Eternia. I mean, and I mentioned James Purefoy. He was the dad in this, so that was cool. And he was also, I think, he was the king or something in A Knight's Tale. He's just one of those guys that's been around a long time. So it's cool to see James Purefoy in this. I think all the casting worked really well. I don't know. It's just a shame. Like, it's hard to put. It's hard to know exactly why it has failed financially. I don't know if it's just bad timing.
I just don't think people care about Masters of. I think it's twofold. I don't think people care about Masters of the Universe to the extent that you could spend $200 million on a picture.
Right.
And also it's not good enough to drive out a bunch of hype for it.
Exactly.
On the other side. Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, and nobody necessarily knew, but it's coming out at a time where you have a phenomenon with Obsession and Backrooms and Gen Z and younger going in droves to see these movies multiple times. And that nobody could have known that was going to happen the way it has.
I think Masters of the Universe opens similar. Either way, really.
Either way, probably. I mean, like, I was trying to think, maybe if this had come out 10 years ago, maybe that would have been perfect timing. And I just think maybe, like you said, the property is not at a point where it's going to drive ticket sales. I mean, it's just kind of not there. And look, I mean, if Star Wars is not careful, it could kind of end up that way as well. Now they've got
Star Wars. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to real quick say they're very lucky that Starfighter is the next thing coming out because of Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
They are so lucky.
I think Star Wars has a better footing on the ground of having a framework of films and stories that are classic and you can work off of and jump off from. Whereas I think Masters of the Universe, and I'm not trying to insult anything, I've never seen the cartoons that much, but my understanding is the story is pretty thin on that stuff.
Totally thin. Yeah.
And it's all based on toys, whereas Star Wars was based on 100%. The ideas of George Lucas, which got turned into toys.
Yeah, like the He-Man thing is Mattel wanted to sell toys. That's all that. Yeah, that's all that was. I was really surprised, going back to what you said about some of the innuendo jokes.
Yeah,
those, from what I can remember, Bumblebee did not have that. Adam Project definitely didn't, and it's
not him.
Oh, that's not him. What was the other live action that Travis Knight did? Maybe he's only done Bumblebee.
Yeah, so it was Kubo, it was Bumblebee, and it was this, I think.
So that being said, I mean, to his stuff at Leica, he doesn't seem the type to have done those type of jokes, and I wonder if that was a studio note.
I don't know. Yeah,
like, it just doesn't seem his
MO. We didn't talk about this. I did think the Adam who's coming from HR on Earth, which HR seems like a nightmare in that universe, and obviously and sometimes in real life it is. But him coming in the Eternia and trying to be a conflict resolution person, I thought was really funny. So he realizes he has to fight. But even at the end, he kind of does a little bit too, and but it was fun.
And sure, I mean, there's definitely something to be said for the I guess, like, the nature of masculinity is kind of addressed in this a little bit, and I won't use the word toxic masculinity because I think that's an overused term. But I mean, there is a bit of commentary to some of that in this as well. So, and that's because it's coming out in 2026. I mean, that's just, they're going to try and have stuff like that in there. But Masters of the Universe is not really. Is that really a property that you want to try and have some type of commentary about masculinity? And I don't know. Maybe it is. Financially, though, it's going to tank. There's not going to be. It's going to have a harder second week than Mando and Grogu did. Probably. It's going to have.
But it opens so low. I don't know.
Well, maybe I don't know.
I don't.
But
think
the problem is the word of mouth. The word of mouth is a bit mixed. Although, I mean, if you look on Rotten Tomatoes, people that have gone to see this, even though it wasn't that many people, have enjoyed it. I mean, the way that, and even critics kind of enjoyed it for what it was. And so it's just a weird case
it's a 66% on the tomato meter. They took away the certified fresh. It's 87 on the audience, which, by the way, is
that was a big drop then.
87
weekend.
For the audience, which would be tied with Rise of Skywalker, if you wanted.
Because on Friday it was at like 75% on critics, so it had a pretty steep drop through the weekend. That's unfortunate, because I think it's better than they took away the sort of. Yeah, I think it's a bit better than that. I don't know. I think people are dogpiling on at this point.
I think I'd give it a high 60, low 70s. I don't know. That's how I felt about it.
No, that's fair. I mean, it is very. If there's a such thing as a niche product, this is a niche product. I mean, it's like the small window of fandom for Masters of the Universe is not, to your point, should not have garnered a $200 million budget.
No,
somebody somewhere should have known better. Mattel should have known. I mean, this wasn't going to do Barbie numbers.
The good news is it was produced and made by Amazon, so they've got money to blow. If they
I mean,
but
yeah. Although they just had a Blue Origins thing explode, but I guess that's more Bezos than Amazon.
Yeah, that's a separate company.
That's a separate thing. So,
but yeah, no, I mean his cash flow is tied to it. Yes,
yeah, his cash flow is tied to it. Exactly right. But they're not hurting for money at all. But it's one of those things. Because I'm a Gen Xer, I was rooting for it. Like I wanted to see it do well because it had been so long since we saw a Masters of the Universe in theaters. And that one from the 80s is a horrible film, but I absolutely love it. Like it is really bad, but I love how campy.
Isn't it canon?
It is a Canon Films. Yes, exactly. Yeah. It is so bad, but I love it so much. Like, to see Frank Langella play Skeletor is really chef's kiss. I mean,
where was the Frank Langella giving a pep talk to Skeletor in the film?
I know, right? Exactly. How come he didn't show? Oh, I think he may be dead. I think Frank Langella did pass away. I don't know.
No.
But anyways, I was glad to see Lundgren.
He's still alive. Oh,
is he still alive? Okay.
Yeah.
I was glad to see Lundgren made a cameo. That was nice. I think that
he was pumping iron too.
That was needed.
He still looked jacked.
He's in his 80s, I think, or he might be 70s. He's probably in his 70s. He does look, because I think he's a little younger than Arnold, who's in his 80s. So I think, look, another big one though. Like I am from the out of theater reviews that we've gotten and the sort of not the social reviews that we've gotten of Disclosure Day. Like I am very pumped for this movie all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like I was not
doubting Spielberg. I don't.
Oh, that's not that. There is reason to doubt Spielberg.
What's the reason to doubt Spielberg? Financially, maybe, but good movies.
I don't know, dude. Like, so I'll say this: like his History Channel years, I like Lincoln is a masterpiece, but anything outside of Lincoln, I could have a conversation about it not being like the best work. Like The Post and Bridge of Spies, like sure they're okay movies, but I don't know. So Spielberg does not have them. Look, and West Side Story is amazing. It was my number one movie of the year that year.
That's really good, and
did not make anything financially. Like
no,
it tanked financially.
Yeah, but that also was the week before No Way Home.
It was,
right. And it was during a time when people were very selective about when they went to the theater.
Now, one point that I heard a commentator make about the summer in general is that at some point, one of these movies is going to tank really bad because
I saw it.
I'm hoping so, because people are going to have to start picking and choosing what they spend their money on at some point. And
I think
we'll see. I mean,
it's one of the. I know that people go on and on about movie theater prices, but it's still one of the cheapest entertainment options.
No, you're right. If that is the only thing you're going to do is go to the movie and buy the popcorn and the snack and the drink, and you haven't planned to go to dinner first or after, like
try to
it's
go to a concert or go to a
totally
play.
Right.
And
no, I get it. No, you're right. No, it's very true. Especially if like you go on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. I mean, a lot of theater chains will have like cheaper. So you're totally right. But at some point, it does get to be here's all the movies that I want to see this summer. Disclosure Day, an original story. Do I really want to spend my money on that? I'm very interested to see how this positive word of mouth is going to translate financially, or if it will at all. Like I'm because Spielberg used to be an IP, but I don't think that he is anymore.
Yeah, he's not necessarily as much, but I don't know. Well, we'll see how it plays out. I think right now it's trending towards 40 to 50 opening, and if it can open on the upper end of that, it's all about legs at that point. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. So and from like I said, the early word of mouth is that it's actually a good movie. So I mean that helps as well, and it's going to be it's going to have IMAX for like a week until Toy Story the week after. So
which is going to be huge. That may be the problem, is that people will go 1 week instead of that week. But
yeah. Disclosure Day does not feel like a movie that will have much rewatchability. It's going to be like a one and done.
You've got to see it first, but
it doesn't have the benefit of coming out during the movie star era where you can have somebody huge top billing.
Josh O'Connor is not a giant movie star.
I am saying that 100%. So that's one thing I was intrigued by, is that he did not try and maybe this was just a budget thing. Like he didn't try and get somebody bigger than a Josh O'Connor.
Well, and I guess you could argue that really he did with Emily Blunt, because apparently she's the big lead in terms of acting range in the film.
And apparently she's phenomenal in the movie.
Yeah.
And that's
people
great.
Calling for nominations for it.
I'm excited to hear that. But her name's not DiCaprio. Her name's not Pitt.
No.
Her name's not.
I'm not saying that she's a megastar, but she's probably the biggest of them.
And hey, it does have the benefit of coming out, right after The Devil Wears Prada 2, which Emily's in the movie, not like the star of the film or anything.
No, she's a supporting character,
third billing at best.
Yeah.
And so, but people went out to see that movie, and it did well, and so. You could be right. Like her being in it and her having a really positive word of mouth about her performance could help Disclosure Day quite a bit. I'm rooting for the film. I'm not saying I want it to fail at all, but I'm just like, when was the last time Spielberg had a huge hit? It's been a long time, financially speaking.
No, I get it. Yeah.
But I'm very excited to hear that it appears that it's good. I mean, that's all that matters half the time. Make a good movie. Give us something good to watch.
Yeah.
I'm not a UAP guy, so I'm like not huge, excited about the subject matter, but it does sound like it's interesting at least.
I'm a big Close Encounters guy. I'm not a big actual aliens guy, but
exactly. And hey, I have never seen Spielberg shilling so hard for a movie before. Dude is doing the rewatchables.
Well, they spent a lot of money.
He's doing the Rewatchables podcast. He's doing every podcast that will take him. We probably could have gotten him. He is out there, man. Shilling hard for he did not do that for West Side Story. He did not do that for the Fablemans. He was not out there boots on the ground. I mean, the dude's in his 80s. He'd probably rather be in a recliner, but he is out there hardcore for this movie.
Yeah.
Because what studio is this? A Universal?
Universal. Yeah. Okay. They've got a Spielberg and a Nolan this year, and they were supposed to have Appeal later this year. But script didn't get turned in for that one, so we'll see.
So anyways, very, very much excited for it for sure.
Yeah. Where can people find you online, Mikey?
Yes, I am at X at the Michael Nip, and Letterboxd if you want to see like my very basic movie reviews. I don't write novels on that thing because I don't have time to write novels on that thing. But most of my time, at least from social media standpoint, is spent on Discord. And I'll let Garrison tell you more about that.
You can find me at Gryfun3, Gryfun3 on Twitter, and on Letterboxd it's just Gryfun, no 3. You can email us at cinemadebriefpod@gmail.com, and you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at cinemadebrief. And if you want to join our Discord, as previously mentioned, it's a great community that we've kind of built over the last decade or so with your previous podcasts, and now with Cinema Debrief.
It's been a decade, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's been a lot of fun to continue the conversations in there and talk about newer movies, older movies, whatever. Sometimes we don't even talk about movies. Sometimes there's other things that happen in the lobby or Melissa's podcast, Food for Thought cast over there. Lots of conversations being generated. It's a fun time. Again, email us or DM us for access to that. And we will see you guys next week for The King of Kings and Disclosure Day.